Gotta love me some off-meta builds here in the Desert Sands, and I never actually noticed that the trebuchets don't have wheels. They just roll around on these little logs, and the logs themselves actually just like roll. That's such a nice little detail. Anyway, those trebuchets look really nice. Before I get caught up, admiring trebuchets, just absolutely charmed by them. Let's take a look at these builds here. From win condition today, sort of unorthodox. I will say trebuchets are not the most unorthodox against Chaos Dwarfs because of this unit right here, Infernal Guard Fire Glaives, which again, we see a couple of those, fairly traditional, but I mean, they're gun halberds, right? Armored elite gun halberds, so very dangerous for Bretonnia, and yeah, trebuchets are definitely a nice counter specifically for that unit, and just in general, armored infantry, Iron Sworn, stuff like that, you'll see pretty frequently against Chaos Dwarfs, so it makes sense. The Foot Squires are a little bit more of an odd pick. I guess they trade specifically well against like the guns, and they'll do okay against most Hobgoblin infantry. Definitely will struggle with like legit Iron Sworn, but we'll see how they do here. There are a couple of Iron Sworn, I think, on the opposite side. We'll get to that in a minute. We've got a Grail Relic here, Grail Relic there, and Knights of the Realm. Henri Le Massif on his Hippogriff. Nice to see him. Anti-large armor piercing. Great stats all around. Especially with the Griffin HP buff, I think he's a very solid option for a hero. And it's going to be a Rapunzel plus Damsel of Life, of course. Companions of Cornell back there with their extra +2 base weapon damage. They're alright. They're not what they used to be, especially in comparison to other similarly costed kind of Grail tier units. But for the Chaos Dwarfs, we've got a Bull Centaur Tarok here, Sorcerer Prophet of Fire. Nice choice. A couple of Death Shriekers, a couple of Fire Glaives. We do have an Iron Sworn, a couple of Hobgoblins, a bunch of Laborers, and then one Blunderbuss as well. And right now, the trebuchets teeing off on the blunderbuss. The rockets, I'm not sure exactly what they're targeting, but scattershotting the peasants, it's definitely a decision. Yeah, hitting the Foot Squires makes sense. They are a unit that is going to potentially do a slight something here. From the Chaos Source perspective, though, definitely the best thing to do here would be to switch Death Shriekers onto single shot mode and shoot the trebuchets. They would be able to pretty decisively like blow up the unit models of the trebuchets and render them ineffective. I would imagine relatively short order, but the scatter shot's proven pretty effective so far. Actually does do some nice damage to those Foot Squires. We see a Burning Head being used on the trebuchet crew here as well. Hits the first one pretty solid. The second one maybe not quite so much. That scatter shot actually landing on the crew itself does manage to break them, so yeah, it doesn't take a lot. Trebuchets, I mean, they're Bretonnian, like, kind of peasant tier units, basically, in terms of leadership, so fairly brittle, but they have done some good damage so far. If we look on the opposite side, that Blunderbuss definitely getting punished pretty hard. Fire Glaives, less so, but let's see. Yeah, right now having a hard time being targeted here, but some magic gonna be unleashed. That is a nice Dwellers Below. Haven't seen as much Dwellers recently, but it's still very good, as we see here, for blob busting or even just nuking a single expensive target. It's enough leadership damage to actually rout the Fire Glaives, and with the Lance Formation Companions moving in now, we've got Rapunzel and the Damsel just riding right alongside. They're gonna come through and try and interrupt the rockets. So nice kind of disrupt rush. Hit from the side initially. Yeah, the Chaos Dwarfs a little bit slow to react here, but let's see what they can do. Henri also a nice disruption charge. Kind of discombobulates the formation on the far side here. Prone to taking burst damage, though, from the shotguns once they're able to line up, which they weren't really able to quickly enough before. Well, it looks like he's coming maybe for another pass here. Let's see if he takes a big face full of lead. Ooh, yeah. A couple of shots on the approach. Not anything too crazy, actually. The Fire Glaives, it looks like, might also be targeting him as well, but the Chaos Dwarfs right now suffering from the low responsiveness of missile units, missile infantry at least, not being able to turn and fire very quickly at these approaching threats, but with the infantry engagement developing now, we've got Iron Sworn trying to throw their charges at the Foot Squires, which it looks like they were basically interrupted in doing so. It's also going to be danger close shooting for the rocket launchers, so it looks like might switch targets back onto the trebuchets, so they're not nuking their own infantry here, which definitely makes sense. Speaking of getting nuked, Henri gets caught on the ground here, gets debuffed by the Dark Mace. Bull Centaur pops Heroic Killing Blow. Charm Shield, not going to be enough. Henri loses that engagement decisively, actually just gets straight up killed there. And Rapunzel and the Damsel gonna come in, try and save the day, a little bit late. But, man, look at the size discrepancy between these two Bretonnian ladies and Bull Centaur. The Bull Centaur getting worked now by Rapunzel, though, in revenge for killing of Henri. So, definitely some nice back and forth in the heroic fight there, taking a broad view of things once again. Ironsworn not being able to use their charges on the Foot Squires definitely helps the Foot Squires massively in this engagement. Even still, I mean, 32 attack. I guess Icon of Devotion actually does buff melee attack now, I forget. That helps too, a bit. Definitely. 32 attack with an extra plus 12 bonus versus infantry, so they're, what, 44? Yeah, 64 defense for Ironsworn, so you're still looking at like a minimum hit chance, more or less. Not quite, pretty close to, though, and the rocket lands, which blows up the Foot Squires anyway. So, you know, makes sense to a degree why you'd want to bring them, but also at the same time, they do prove how they can struggle here. But the companions so far actually have been pretty good. They haven't really been targeted too aggressively by anything by the Chaos Dwarfs. They've been able to run around, clean up a lot of weakened units. Now, like these blunderbusses, collapse them, finish them off, and help protect Rapunzel as she tries to protect the Damsel, who just took a big bunch of volleys from the Bull Centaur there. But as she's doing so, the Damsel tanking for Rapunzel. Rapunzel can use her greatsword to wound severely that Bull Centaur, and it looks like he's not long for this world. Companions also roll to the next target, which happens to be a gun halberd. I'm not sure if they actually had the charge order directly on them, but this will be a little bit tougher than the other targets for sure, but I still think they probably have the elite stats necessary to win this engagement. Definitely going to take some damage in the process, but let's see how things are going. Yeah, Bull Centaur gets sniped here, and now the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire also on foot with just Burning Head and Flaming Sword. Also had the Vial of Hashut, which he hasn't used yet. Definitely should use right now on Rapunzel. Pop Flaming Sword on himself, turn around and fight. It's going to be his best chance of surviving that engagement. But instead, Rapunzel is going to continue pushing him away from help. And Ironsworn just kind of getting ground down over time here. Yeah, got 101 kills. Haven't quite paid for themselves, but are well on their way to doing so. But the Trebuchet has been able to stay alive here, at least the one unit, and pound away the whole time. It's paid for itself here. If we take a look at the other Trebuchet units, that doesn't want to pull up their unit card. Anyway, we'll take a look after the fact, but probably reasonably cost-effective, despite the damage taken early on. Here, just having enough bodies for Bretonnia, both the Grail Relics, the Peasants, and I guess the Foot Squires too. Definitely helps, but we're going to see another Burning Head. Try and cut off that support infantry. As the Infernal Ironsworn look on, that is probably going to rout, yeah, both of the actual infantry units here. The Grail Relics remain, but not really of particular importance. Does look like, though, that the Chaos Dwarf player are going to throw in the towel. His Lord getting caught out once again by Rapunzel. And yeah, kind of nice back and forth there. Henri just getting absolutely clobbered, but then at the same time, Rapunzel is able to turn around and deal some justice back, take revenge, finish off the Bull Centaur. And the Rockets, yeah, I think just the only mistake really is initially not targeting the trebuchets with a single shot a little bit more aggressively, like shut them down, or even the multi-shot, I guess, seemed to be very effective at killing the crews. You know, get those off the field just to protect your elite infantry, and that'll help. Definitely, even still, one Fireglaive manages to get 1,600 damage value, and the Ironsworn, again, 700, not too much, but probably would have paid for themselves had McLovin stayed the full time of the game. Regardless, though, yeah, Knights of the Realm also get some really nice value, kind of cleaning up battered units and going after, I think, like the rockets and stuff. Nice to see Companions get some use as well. Rapunzel getting a decent performance also. Just all around nice build from Bretonnia. And yeah, definitely one Foot Squire did nothing. The other one got about 670 value, which is, it's fine. But Squire's cost and their performance is really the main reason why I'm not much of a fan. They do have some uses, and if they were like 700 or even 650, I think you'd see them a lot more. But at 750, they're just going to struggle to be cost effective in a lot of engagements. Their stats are really not amazing. Although, you know, if you do have them, like we saw there, paired with the Grail Relic, I actually forgot that that does buff melee attack. And then, of course, they'll get extra leadership and immunity to psychology as well. They do count as a peasant unit, so they'll get extra leadership from that, you know, if knights are nearby. But, yeah, not the... well, I would say not the worst. They are probably one of the worst infantry units in the game, actually, if you were to break it down. Maybe not 100% the worst, but probably in the bottom 10, I would say. Even still, they have their niche uses, and that can be effective in the right circumstance. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.